Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to another episode of News Dose, where I give you all of the latest gaming news. And Microsoft pulled off a big partnership today. It was certainly a surprise that I think could really benefit Xbox a lot, so we're gonna talk about that. Also, we got a few more details about the upcoming PlayStation 5 lineup, and I think what Sony is doing there is kind of interesting in how they play. And also, we got some exciting Sega news, so stick around for that as well. Before we get into all that though, we have plenty more to talk about, starting off with some next generation upgrades. So one trend that I've really been happy about here recently is some of these publishers have been making an effort to upgrade their games for the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, completely free of charge. Now, not every game has done this so far, such as Spider-Man and Control, but there are plenty of others, and we can now add to that list with Mortal Kombat 11 and For Honor. This actually makes perfect sense too, considering they have a pretty heavy focus on their multiplayer. So obviously their fans are going to want to continue playing these games, and by offering these free next generation upgrades, not only does it benefit their current user base, but it also gives a reason for newcomers to join in. Now, Mortal Kombat is not just coming with a free upgrade though. We did talk about this the other day, but the rumors were true. The next three characters were revealed to be Mileena, Rain, and John Rambo. Yeah, Rambo actually made it into this game, which is pretty crazy to think about. Now you can have the Terminator face off against John Rambo. How cool is that? Either way, all of this will be ready to go on November 17th, so we're starting off next generation with a big fighting game. With that said though, I really do hope that we see other fighting games follow suit. And speaking of big next generation games, Final Fantasy XVI is right around the corner. So when this game first got announced, a lot of people speculated that we're not going to have this in our hands for years to come. I mean, Square Enix has been known to take their sweet time with Final Fantasy games after they first show them, but surprisingly, Final Fantasy XVI looks like it will release a lot sooner than many people expected. Apparently, they've already finished the basic development and scenario production, and they're currently working on things like boss battles, large-scale resources, and expanding development tools. So yeah, this actually might release relatively soon. If I'm being optimistic, it could end up releasing as early as the 2021 holiday. If we want to be a little more safe on that prediction though, it may slip to 2022. They did say they're working at home remotely, so they may run into issues there with that. Still though, this is coming from one of the Final Fantasy XIV teams, which has done an exceptional job with the expansions over there, so I think this game is in good hands. I also think it's a very real possibility that it comes out before we get Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. When you think about it though, if you're a Final Fantasy fan like I am, the next couple years is going to be very exciting. I do expect both of these games to be great, and they're easily some of my most anticipated games. Moving on, Sega is starting to tease some big news. Okay, so Sonic 30th anniversary takes place next year, and we already know that Sega is planning Sonic-related stuff. I mean, that's confirmed, so there's no question about that. But if they really want to do this right, what would do the 30th anniversary justice? Well, what about Sonic Adventure 3? Yeah, Sega might actually be teasing just that. So check this out. The Sonic the Hedgehog Twitter feed shared an image of Super Sonic, which is no big deal, right? Well, that's until you analyze it and look just a little bit closer as to exactly what's happening here. If you look real close, you'll notice there is a number 3 hidden within the picture, which is kind of strange. Why would there be a number 3? Could this really mean that we could get Sonic Adventure 3, a sequel to one of the best action 3D platformers ever made? I mean, I loved this game when I was a kid. To this day, it's my favorite Sonic game and one of my favorite 3D platformers ever made. You also have to remember that Sega recently said they are going to focus on the quality of this franchise more going forward. They're going to spend more time developing them rather than just rushing them out, so that's a good sign as well. Now, something else about this post is that the voice actor for Dr. Eggman also responded to this tweet saying 3 is the magic number, though I imagine he's just having a little fun here with this. The thing is though, maybe this 3 doesn't mean anything at all. Maybe people are just looking a little too far into all of this, and that certainly could be the case. There is no confirmation just yet, but with Sonic 30th anniversary next year, I do imagine we're going to get some big news rather soon. I don't know if it will be Sonic Adventure 3 or not, but I would love that. I also wouldn't mind a new Sonic Mania, just saying. I will ask you though, would you like to see Sonic Adventure 3 or something else? Let me know in the comments below. Now that wasn't the only big Sega news today. Yeah, Sega fans should be pretty happy today because it looks like we could be seeing the return of the Sega Dreamcast with a mini edition. In an interview with Famitsu, one of Sega's producers not only mentioned that they could do more mini consoles, but he also directly mentioned the next one could be either a Sega Dreamcast Mini or an SG-1000. That is a pretty strong indication that a Dreamcast will indeed happen, and hopefully before the SG-1000. Honestly, a lot of people probably don't even know what that console is, but it's actually Sega's first ever console that they released back in 1983. The Dreamcast, though, is probably about as close as you're ever going to get to being a cult classic among fans. It was Sega's final foray into hardware and wasn't exactly a huge success, but really I think it was a great console in many ways. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I love the Dreamcast, and it's actually one of my favorite consoles, so I would be all in for a Dreamcast Mini. I do wonder what kind of library would be included though. I would think that it would at least need Sonic Adventure 2, Shenmue, Jet Set Radio, Crazy Taxi, and Skies of Arcadia. Yeah, that already sounds like a fantastic list, so please Sega, let's make this thing happen. Let's talk about the Xbox for a moment though. We talked about this yesterday, but there was a very odd Xbox Series X heating rumor going around over the last couple of days. There was some talk about the Series X running a little hot, and then suddenly people took that information and just absolutely blew it up. It somehow turned into concern that the Xbox Series X was overheating, and that just wasn't true. There was actually no indications that it was overheating. Well, we got some more information now by Xbox's Aaron Greenberg, and he claims that the Xbox Series X, just like any other console, will output system heat out of the exhaust, and that their engineering team has confirmed that heat leaving the console is not significantly different than the Xbox One X. So there you have it. As I said yesterday, you shouldn't have to worry about the Series X overheating, so rest assured. And speaking of Xbox Series, one big topic heading into next generation has been those NVMe solid-state drives. This certainly is a big change for next generation consoles, but because this is a newer technology and these things are so fast, pricing is a bit higher than usual. So fans who are looking to expand how much capacity they have on their Series X really only have one option, as Xbox went with proprietary expandable storage, and it's pretty expensive, costing $220. Yeah, that's not exactly what you want to hear, but I do have some good news. Jason Ronald revealed that more options are on the way. Now, we don't have an exact date as to when, but without a doubt, once more companies start making expandable storage for the Xbox Series, we should get cheaper options. I mean, pricing will also naturally drop over time as well, but still, with more competition, you should see that price drop by quite a bit. Xbox also entered a very interesting partnership today. So this kind of popped up out of nowhere, but Microsoft and GameStop announced a multi-year contract, which could be a very big deal for Xbox. And I'll explain why here in just a moment. For the most part, this deal seems to be geared towards an infrastructure change with GameStop, where they move their backend to Microsoft products by using things like their cloud service, Azure. And really, GameStop has been struggling recently, so they need to make some changes. How is this a big deal for Xbox though? Well, earlier this year, Microsoft closed all but 4 of their retail stores. The thing is, Xbox Series X is right around the corner, and one thing that they're really trying to push is Xbox All Access. This is the program in which you can pay about $25 a month for the Xbox Series and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate over a 2-year period to own the console. Essentially, it's like a phone plan where you pay monthly to own the phone, but in order for this to work, they need retailers to be on board. And that is where GameStop comes in. This multi-year deal includes them selling Xbox All Access, and I have a feeling that GameStop is going to be pushing this pretty majorly. That is why this could end up being a very big deal for Xbox. Now you can walk into GameStop, one of the biggest gaming retailers, and walk out with an Xbox for just $25 a month with no upfront costs. I mean, can you imagine parents walking into GameStop during the holidays and realizing that's all they need to pay, and they immediately get over 100 games with Xbox Game Pass Ultimate? Yeah, that could be huge, so this is the perfect partnership, and frankly, this is better than using the Microsoft Store. GameStop is specifically for people who are looking for games, and now you won't even have to pay $500 immediately. This was always a really good deal, but now that GameStop is on board with this could really explode and change the game landscape and how consoles are sold. I will be interested to see if anything else happens with this partnership though. Maybe Microsoft could help GameStop with digital sales as they continue to be more important over time. I wonder if that mythical Xbox physical to digital program could return through something like this. Probably not, but I'll be very curious to see if anything else happens with this partnership. On to our final topic though, we got 2 PlayStation 5 games to talk about. The PlayStation 5's launch library did grow a bit more, with Bugsnax officially releasing on November 12th for the PC, PlayStation 4, and the PlayStation 5. Now, I know this game has been ridiculed quite a bit online, but honestly, I think it looks interesting. It's not exactly the most graphically demanding game, and it looks kind of weird, but it seems like it has this kind of dark sense of humor, and it's just quirky. I'm not really one of those gamers who just like big AAA games though. For me, I just want good games, so I'll be interested to see how this one turns out. The big one though, and the one that most people will be interested in, is Demon's Souls. So I've said this on the channel a few times, but I'm really excited for this game. I'm a big fan of the original game, and visually the remake looks absolutely stunning, so I want to test it out for myself. Well, they revealed some new cool details today, which has me even more curious than what I was before. So one big thing that Sony really seems to be pushing with the PlayStation 5 is their new technology within the DualSense controller. Some of it is a little gimmicky, such as blowing into the microphone, but there is one really cool feature, and that is the adaptive triggers, where vibrations will go through the triggers in order to give you different sensations. Now, the Xbox One has been doing this for years with their impulse triggers, but from everything that I'm hearing, the DualSense controller is taking that technology to the next level. Impressions by developers have been incredibly positive so far, and a lot of games are doing some interesting stuff with these adaptive triggers. Well, you can now add Demon's Souls to that list, as it's been revealed all weapon attacks and magic attacks will have different sensations. This will also include parries, which will have their own sensations, pulling levers, and opening gates. Yeah, it sounds really cool, and it should add an extra layer of immersion. The thing is, right now we're only hearing about it. It's hard for developers to explain this type of technology. It's really something that we're going to have to feel for ourselves, but I am intrigued. I want to know if it's as good as they're hyping it up to be. Anyways though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget to hit the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.